All right, we are back with the GSMC Wrestling Laureate podcast brought to you by the GSMC Sports Network. I'm your favorite wrestling fan here, Eric Rodriguez, here every Monday through Friday, 8 p.m. Pacific time, 11 p.m. Eastern time, here to talk about the greatest thing in the world, professional wrestling, all the action inside and outside of the ring, backstage curtain calls, rumors and dramas. We talk about superstar inactive statuses, injury updates, contract negotiations, extensions, and new signings. We talk about promotions from AEW to WWE, the CMLL, to New Japan Professional Wrestling. If it makes major news headlines in the world of professional wrestling, we talk about it here on this show. So remember to tune in, like and subscribe to the show, follow the network. All right, so kind of reflect on what we talked about right quick. We had our WWE NXT review, and then we had our AEW Dynamite talk. We reviewed Dynamite as well as talked about some future outcomes and storylines that are going to be generated tonight on Dynamite. And then in our third segment, we talked about Eddie Guerrero's legacy, obviously, tragically, 19 years ago today. The wrestling icon, the legend, passed away. And now we're going to talk about AI, artificial intelligence determines WWE, WCW dream match outcomes. And, to be honest, this is the reason why, if you're an employer, if you're like, oh, AI is going to run the world and, make awesome decisions, it's not the best at doing that. Well, at least in the world of professional wrestling. Obviously, you know, if my man, Elon Musk is watching tonight, I'm just kidding. No, moving on. From an article from the Sportster, which I found very riveting. I definitely, recommend you guys to check it out. Artificial intelligence. They plugged in, what would WCW versus WWE dream matches and the outcomes during the Monday Night War, and artificial intelligence. The computer was like, I'm just kidding. It was, it was, they were rivals in the 1990s. Obviously a huge screw up through this whole invasion angle that WWF and WWE, basically did to these poor WCW superstars who were very, WCW got bought out by Vince McMahon. And they kind of thought this was going to be an opportunity to kind of go above and beyond. But a lot of faces like Sting, Hulk Hogan, Kevin Nash, Eric Bischoff kind of look at it as like, Vince is going to rip us apart. Vince is going to make us seem like we're the crappiest wrestlers, make us seem like we don't know what we're doing. And that's exactly what happened. And, kudos to Booker T, who actually stuck through all the BS and, was able to become a the world's heavyweight champion and also, King of the Ring. So kudos to, Booker T there. All right. So first we have Kurt Angle will defeat in a dream match, will defeat Bret Hart. You know, I like Kurt Angle. I do not, you know, I don't like. I don't think he can beat Bret Hart though. In both of their primes, going at it in the squared circle, I Bret Hart was so damn good. He was the excellent of execution. He was the best there is, the best there was, and the best there ever will be. If Bret Hart never would have got, kicked in the head by Goldberg, um, he would have, he would have been a legend. He would have, he still is a legend in WWF. And if Vince McMahon didn't, kind of two-face him on that 20-year contract and forced him and did the Montreal screw job and forced him to leave WWF, he probably would have been like Triple H status or even better. In terms of, how many world title runs they have, their impact on WWE. Maybe he comes and he has this evolution faction, maybe Randy Orton goes with them. Just kidding, no. But, Bret Hart was relatively around the same age as Shawn and, maybe a little bit older than, Triple H, Paul Levesque. But he could have been so much damn better. He had so much potential. And kind of like the way that I like ultimately kind of describing it as for a lot of people who don't watch wrestling, and if you're a football fan, just imagine if because once when Bret Hart moved to WCW, he knew that he was going to be working around a lot more inexperienced wrestling personnel. That he was going to be working with guys like, Goldberg, who was just thrown on the screen because he looked big and bad and had, 26 seconds to, he was like the king of WWE speed. He would have been the WWE speed champion. His matches were no more than like 3 minutes or like 2 minutes. Like it was crazy. But just like imagine like Patrick Mahomes, and on the practice squad, somebody pops him and then bam, like he was on the Super Bowl run. He already has three. He could have beat Tom Brady, be probably the best in the NFL in terms of the greatest quarterback to ever like lace up his cleats. But obviously that was taken away from him, and that's kind of how it was with Bret Hart. And it just kind of sucks. But I do not agree that Kurt Angle would beat him because Kurt Angle in his prime, although he was he was dynamic inside the ring. Bret Hart just had he just checked all those other boxes. You know, Kurt Angle had freakishly he had freakishly, powerful strength. He was good at submission. So was Bret. Bret was a little, both of them were great tacticians inside the ring in terms of wrestling styles. So I see that tied right there. Bret Hart was more of a high flyer. So, we're both tied right there, 3 points apiece. And at the end, you definitely have to have that it factor. Like, and Kurt Angle, yeah, he had an it factor. That's true. But Bret Hart was the face of WWE once when WWE went kind of south after the whole steroid scandals and the way they were treating women backstage. And Bret Hart was like this consistent, efficient family man that he would do interviews with his kids on his lap, and it was just he was a humble guy. So a lot, that's the kind of picture that they wanted people. That they wanted WWE fans to follow, not like your average ordinary like Hulk Hogan. The Undertaker defeats Sting. I do love the icon Sting, but in this kind of case, I agree. I agree with this one. Sting was a great wrestler, and the Undertaker, he was a great wrestler. He did kind of, when he was put in big spots, when in big matches, he wasn't really that guy to win the championship. I would say it would be a close match, definitely a close match for sure. But I think the Undertaker would come out the victor against Sting here. Eddie Guerrero defeats Owen Hart. That's a coin toss right there. Coin flip game right there. Can't really put the nail on the head in terms of that. Eddie Guerrero was great at what he did. So was Owen Hart. So him defeating Owen Hart. Maybe in terms of like different styles of wrestling, but that's because Eddie Guerrero. Well, Owen Hart did pay his dues as well outside of the WWF. But Eddie Guerrero, like he was, part of the independent wrestling circuit, did some CMLL, ECW, WCW, then to the WWF. Probably based on more outside experience, I would definitely agree that Eddie Guerrero would defeat Owen Hart. And that'd be like the slightest. That would be the slightest marginal right there. The Rock defeats Diamond Dallas Page. That one obviously is, no brainer. The Rock he was very special. He was a very special superstar kind of during the Attitude Era. Not trying to take away anything from Diamond Dallas Page because how he was in WCW when he was the World Heavyweight Champion. Also, just all around, I felt like DDP was great at what he did. Obviously, that's the reason why he does do some stuff with WWE with past wrestlers, future wrestlers, and athletes and stuff like that. I think he's doing that yoga thing. I think it is where he's helping people like lose weight and get healthier, and it's actually working. So kudos to him. That's badass. Mankind Mick Foley defeats Cactus Jack. Um, I'm assuming that they did Cactus Jack because of ECW and WCW. I'm not too sure, but I don't agree. I feel like Cactus Jack would beat the heck out of Mankind. But that's my opinion. Goldberg defeats Shawn Michaels. Oh my God, no way this would ever happen. No way this would ever happen. Shawn Michaels was the best wrestler inside the ring. He chucks all four boxes. He agile, speed. He was strong. He was definitely a tactician inside the ring. He knew how to, get in his opponents' faces and cause them to make mistakes based on their hatred toward the Heartbreak Kid, Shawn Michaels. Shawn Michaels is the best wrestler who ever wrestled, guys. I'm sorry. And maybe it's a little bit of biases because I love Shawn Michaels and that guy's like my man. But like, come on, the way Shawn Michaels took the WWF by storm, and especially during the WWE slash WWF WCW Monday Night Wars. If Shawn Michaels was never as great and as good as he was, barely holding WWF by the hair, literally. Like if there was no Shawn Michaels, there probably would be no WWE. And I know that might seem a little bit too, a couple people might seem a little bit too far-fetched, but that's how important Shawn was. That's how important Shawn was. He was literally that, the bridge from like, from 80s wrestling, and then Brett left. And then you needed that one guy, and then all of a sudden Shawn gets injured, and then the Attitude Era is born, and then Shawn comes back. And then you have the ruthless aggression where Shawn Michaels was, he was still wrestling. So you definitely gotta, throw some respect on Shawn Michaels' name. I definitely don't think the WWE would be anywhere near where they're at without the Heartbreak Kid Shawn Michaels. As opposed, now with Goldberg defeating him, that's not true. That's BS. Shawn Michaels would super kick Goldberg's, he super kick his face off, man. That's what he would do. He would hit the flying elbow, hit that sweet chin music, and then one, two, three. You think I'm cute? No, I'm sick. He would have destroyed Goldberg. I'm surprised that they, see, that's why, maybe artificial intelligence isn't that intelligent after all. If they think somebody like Goldberg could defeat Shawn Michaels, unless like, it was like well, no, no, I'm just kidding. No, that would never happen. All right, next we have the NWO defeats D-Generation X in a War Games match. Um, maybe, possibly, but the NWO, maybe the artificial intelligence bot, maybe they gave too much credit to Hollywood Hulk Hogan, Kevin Nash, and Scott Hall, which by all means they were great. Their big three and the D-Generation X big three, Triple H, Shawn Michaels, and that's pretty much it. So I guess in a way, they would win because, but what's after that besides Triple H and Shawn? There was Road Dogg, there was Billy Gunn, there was X Pac, there was China. I don't think this really counts the McMahon Helmsley era kind of thing. So I guess in a way, yeah, no. To be honest, I think the NWO would defeat D Generation X in in a War Games match. So definitely, in that case, they got it right. The Hardy Boys defeat the Harlem Heat. You know, the Harlem Heat, they fought in the tag team division, yes, they did. But they were also, I feel like, in more of a bigger, more of a stronger, more physical kind of tag team, kind of tag team division than the Hardy Boys were. And but the Hardy Boys, they were fast, they were agile, high flying, and stuff like that. That was kind of like what they brought to the table. And during the stint with the Dudley Boys, and with Edge and Christian, and that sort of aspect, yeah, I get it. I can get why AI would choose them to win. But Stevie Ray, and also five-time WCW champion Booker T, losing against Matt Hardy, never really had that much single success. Jeff Hardy, who had single success, but thanks to outside issues, couldn't really maintain any storylines in WWE. So it's for me, this is a coin toss as well. I feel like not a lot of respect was probably given to Booker T, because I feel like his success alone could definitely hold all three of these guys as chins up. But I don't know. All in all, I felt I would call this a tie. And lastly, we have Stone Cold Steve Austin 316 defeats Hollywood Hulk Hogan, and I would agree. I would agree. I know a lot of you guys out there are Hulk Hogan guys. It's cool. By all means, thumbs up. Good for you. Um, but Stone Cold Steve Austin he was just special. He was just, he fit in WWE, the Attitude Era, like one of them round pigs. He was just, it went during his reign in WWE before he got injured. He was just the face. He was literally why people turned on their television sets. You know how many times I run into a WWE fan or an ex WWE fan. That sounds weird. Uh, when they're like, "Oh yeah, oh, do you watch wrestling? Yeah, I do." Once when Stone Cold was there. Oh, okay, cool. And I go up to another guy. Hey, dude, yeah, are you a wrestling fan? No, I used to watch him when that guy who was drinking beer and stuttering people was there. And I was like, oh, okay, it's not cool. I feel like you get more answers of that than people being like, "Oh yeah, Hogan was running all over, he was running wild all over the wrestling." Like, you know what I mean? Like, and I'm not trying to crap on Hulk Hogan because he had, he paid his dues. He's, definitely helped the WWF slash WWE become, what it was. He definitely helped with WrestleMania 1 and stuff like that. And he helped with, more of a pop culture kind of icon. And, and then drawing in like, outside entertainers to the WWE, and he did, movies and stuff like that. But I agree with Stone Cold Steve Austin would totally just kill Hollywood Hulk Hogan, dude, definitely. But then that's obviously that's my opinion. If you guys have something different, obviously hit it up inside that chat box. All right, guys, we're almost done with this show. We're on our fifth and final segment, something we do every Wednesday. I give you guys my Wednesdays weekly wrestling news to talk about all the major headlines, breaking news stories in the world of professional wrestling. So grab your favorite snack, grab your favorite ice cold beverage, and join me here in about like 25 seconds. So hey, do not go anywhere.